The 44th President of the United States was always going to be a historic figure, for better or for worse. Barack Obama, yes, obviously the first black president, much to the protestation of Bill Clinton. And dude unironically said some stuff, and he was historic for his own reasons, but I guess you gotta keep something else in case if, you wanted to make your mark on the history books, you gotta keep something else in the back pocket. In case of the emergency that somebody dies on your property. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Barack Obama's personal chef turned up dead on his property? Yeah, neither does anybody else, because Barack Obama's gay, Well, at least, he has fantasies about men, but relationships with women, so it's a little bit tumultuous, one could say. But of course, these are second-hand accounts. Do we know for sure, and is there anything else to back up? Well, I was doing a little bit of additional research on this, and it kind of turns out that there might be something to this after all, if the bulge in Michelle's dress was anything to go off of. But no, some more concrete stuff. All of those pictures, while hilarious, are in fact photoshopped. But those broad shoulders aren't. Barack Obama told the X, I make love to men daily, but just in imagination. I never act on those urges. I don't like to go down and paddleboard and do the old okey doke with anybody that I'm on the pool with. Man, this is 100% verifiable, and the media, because they loved Barack Obama so much, they never wanted to report it that he was a chain smoker. And what do they call cigarettes over in Britain? It rings a bell, but I can't quite remember. It escapes me. Former President Barack Obama wrote of his own androgynous mind and making love to men daily, but in the imagination, just in the corporeal form, is when I like a man's hands on my shoulders and his warm breath on my neck. According to a redacted portion of the now notorious 1982 letter obtained by the Post, more than a 40-year-old letter to an ex-girlfriend. Why the fuck? Okay, there's a bunch of fuck shit that you can do in regards to snitching on yourself when it comes to being with a woman. But what? How did you think? Okay, this is where these goofy dudes who are just trying to run some weird type of fucking game think that, well, if I'm emotionally available, if I just show some emotion to women, that'll make me more attractive. There's a reason this bitch is an ex-girlfriend, by the way, because I will tell you, 1000%, nothing is more of a relationship ender when it comes to women than professing your love of penis. Why the fuck would you say that? What is wrong with you? Yes, it recently resurfaced after Obama biographer David Garrow gave the long and winding interview on the one-time commander. That's the most laborious way that you could phrase that. He was a former president, for Christ's sakes, the 44th. In regards to the big gay, I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present. A refusal, perhaps, to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life. You see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. Obama, then 21, wrote to Alex McNear. Does he only date chicks who have dudes' names? The fuck, okay? In November of 1982. And I don't care if he's fucking gay or not. Just don't want you to go out there and live your best life, Barry. Come on, man. This really does lead credence to a couple of those conspiracy theories that everybody certain people like to peddle, that, all of the elites are all gay pedophiles. And it's like, well, I don't think that there's any proclivities. Obviously not when it comes to kid diddling, but that overarching homosexuality in the way that they may or may not get some blackmail on... Not the Barack Obama type, well, that would be half blackmail, but blackmail on certain people that would have powerful positions down the road really leads a lot of credence to that, but I don't necessarily believe any of those. Oh, that's who he was fucking at Occidental. Interesting. In my mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more so until I can think in terms of people, not women as opposed to men. So this motherfucker was a pioneer of running the bonus hole game. Good for him. But in returning to the body, I see that I've been made a man, and physically in life, I choose to accept that contingency. So if you think that this gender nonsense shit is just a new revelation of the 21st century, this was written back in the early 80s, for Christ's sake. So yeah, all of these commies have been around in these institutions for a fucking long time. McNear, who dated Obama during this during his year at Occidental in Los Angeles, later redacted the salacious paragraphs, which the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Garrow hunted down and included in his tome Rising Star. The letter is currently owned by Emory University and does not permit to be photographed or removed instead. Photographed or removed, sorry. Instead, Garrow's friend Harvey Clear transcribed the paragraphs by hand and sent them to the author. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough in order to verify any of that stuff. You just basically, this is what, third-hand knowledge or something like that? So like I said, I don't know if I necessarily believe it. I just think that it's a good distraction to cut away from the personal chef that drowned and turned up on the Obama's property, and then, that just kind of escaped from the headlines real quickly. Clear provided the redacted portion of the letter to the Post. Oh, okay, so I guess they can verify it? Obama, a father of two. No, I'm sorry. He's an androgynous person, okay, who, facilitated the birth of 2 children, okay, has been married, right, to his wife, Michelle, since 1992. When did they get the right to get married? Anyway, no. Garrow said there's nothing unusual about Obama's youthful musings. Sorry, what? I guess we have a different definition of what normal is. I'm a historian, not a psychologist, and I think it's public record news that a vast majority of human beings have sexual fantasies. Not like that, pal. Okay, well, your certain intellectual elites fantasize about being androgynous blobs. Other people out there, they fantasize about hanging bitches off the balcony. But I guess, hey man, if ultimately you want to partner up with somebody like that, yeah man, you're going to need some assistance if you're going to be doing any balcony play on that one. Need some scaffolding in a fucking picker truck. But okay, that's a couple paragraphs from somebody transcribing a letter. Doesn't necessarily have it firsthand. And yeah, again, it's the musings of a confused 20-something-year-old at Occidental College, okay? I guess that's fairly part and parcel of those circles back in the cut. Whatever. And if this was a one-off occurrence, I don't really know if it's much of a story. But like I said, in doing a little bit of research, okay, trying to corroborate, run an additional story in congruence with this, I ended up stumbling across this. President Obama considered pursuing a homosexual relationship when he was in college after meeting an openly gay professor with whom he shared a friendship beyond the classroom. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Wouldn't you think that would have made your story there as well? But take a look at when this was published. May of 2017. Oh, interesting. And it's kind of funny because as an old long-traveled Opie and Anthony fan, I seem to remember one of their, there's so many great bits throughout all of history, but something that I seem to remember, one of their best bits was, there was this limo driver from Gurnee, Illinois. He was the limo driver of a former state senator. He was talking about how he would get cocaine and he would get crack cocaine for this certain senator, and that he would perform fellatio on said senator in the back seat of his limo. And that was Barack Obama. And those stories are well fucking old because, O&A's been off the air since 2014. I was like, I understand that correlation doesn't quite equal causation, but if you got something from well back in the day, something from 2017, and something from a new letter from now, couple that with nobody's ever seen a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant, I don't really know what we're dealing with here. Not like it ultimately really matters. There's still a dead guy. There's still a corpse on the Obama's property. Nobody wants to talk about it. President Obama considered pursuing a gay relationship when he was in college student, according to a new 1,000-plus page tome by Pulitzer Prize-winning biographer. Writing from the former president's 2-year-old Occidental College in Los Angeles, author David J. Garrow discloses the Rising Star, the making of Barack Obama, the close relationship Obama had with the assistant professor Lawrence Golden. But he just came out with that corroboration now. Interesting. Golden made a huge impact on Barry Obama, Garrow writes. Almost a quarter century later, asked about his understanding of gay issues, Obama enthusiastically said, "My favorite professor, my first year in college was one of the first openly gay people that I knew. He was a terrific guy." For whom Obama developed a friendship beyond the classroom. It's so funny because when he got elected in 2008 over that Bushite corpse, which that's the only time that I'll sing the praises of Obama. Not quite as high pitched as he would, but he did beat John McCain, and I think that that's a victory we can all celebrate. Fuck that guy. Most patriotic brain tumor ever. It was the winter of 1980. So okay, this was 1980, and then the letter was from early or sometime in 1981. Interesting. He was thinking an awful lot about dicks and balls swinging in his face. When Obama took a political science course at Occidental, taught by an openly gay professor, a 1973 graduate of Reed College in Oregon. Really? Richard Reed College? That is an old fucking joke. A PhD from Stanford. He said Goldwyn was out would be an understatement. A fellow student at the college told Garrow, Golden was funny, engaging, big fan of Rock Hudson movies. Wore these really bright yellow pants and open-toed sandals. Okay, he was on the West Coast and he was gay. Surprise. Can't pronounce that name correctly. I don't know, you must need a cock in your mouth to do it. Was one of the first openly gay people that Obama knew. I'm sure. And Obama said the strong friendship helped to educate me in the proper positions to assume. Anyways, 3 years later, writes the author, Obama wrote about exclusively to his first intimate girlfriend that he had thought about, see, there it is, comes up one more time, about considering gayness, but ultimately decided in the same-sex relationship would be less challenging and demanding than developing one with the opposite sex. You know what? That's been a joke for a very, very, very long time, that you wouldn't have to deal with the whims and the whimsy of female emotions, and that gay dudes, it's scientific fact, okay? Like, it's verifiable proof that gay dudes are far more promiscuous than any other sexual orientation that's out there. So yeah, while true, I guess, okay, so on top of everything else, so Barack Obama, first black president, potentially the first gay president, and then also the first red pill president? That's all very, very interesting. But like I said, this is all incredibly speculative. This is, yes, autobiographical, one letter and all that stuff, but also, like I said, you start connecting all of these dots together and it looks an awful lot like a monkeypox diagnosis. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.